This show has won so many science awards. Sometimes we get talking about highfalutin science, things like this, and people are like, what are you talking about? So let me just break it down. Carbon dioxide is basically this. Look how much pollution I just put out.
We told you that the Earth has actually cooled over the last decade.
The sea eats oil. The sea eats oil alive. That place up there, nature cleaned it up faster than we ever could.
I don't think global warming is stated science.
Every time they have a global warming summit, or it snows.
No, right.
You like that, Coach? It cracks me up.
It's hilarious because when you talk to the scientists, they said you could make the case just as much for global cooling.
We are moving toward a combination of corporate power and political power that is so disturbingly similar to what we witnessed in Italy in the 1930s.
This is exactly what happened to the lead up with Hitler.
What we got is Jim Crow liberalism.
Okay, let me try it. The Republican Party is an oppressed minority. If ever a civil rights movement was needed in America, it is for the Republican Party.
Do these people have a problem with Mao and Nixon? And of course, you worked for Richard Nixon. I mean, Nixon goes to China. Do you have a problem with
Cho and Nixon? All of those are valid points as long as you realize that it was Cho and Lai, not
Cho and Lai.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to confuse you at the high school thing.
British and Canadian doctors warning Americans about the perils of nationalized health care.
Do you think that it's a coincidence that the government would be enacting this takeover of health care in the same week that we have fears of an epidemic and a pandemic about swine flu?
How come in all this talk, pork, swine, flu, how come the Muslims aren't being quoted saying we warned you? They're not getting the disease. How come they're not getting the disease? They don't eat pork.
AIDS was going to get really bad, but it didn't.
Now the illness du jour is autism. You know what autism is? I'll tell you what autism is in 99% of the cases. It's a brat who hasn't been told to cut the act out. Straighten up, act like a man. Don't sit there crying and screaming, idiot.
For instance, if somebody breaks into my house and I catch them going out the front door, I ought to be able to shoot them in the back.
If the California Supreme Court had allowed the gays to marry, then anybody could have gotten married. You could have married a duck.
First thing you do is, no matter what law they passed, do not, repeat, not ever register any of your firearms.
Yes, sir.
Because that's where they get the list of where to go first to confiscate.
Libel is basically saying something untrue about another person. Miss Ostro couldn't back up any of her statements. She can't point to anything.
She should.
Okay, stop. Jamie, she can't. It's not a matter of should. We gave her the opportunity.
The law
she
is
couldn't.
very specific about
I don't care about the law.
Is.
My rights were violated here because they tried to punish me for my speech.
I'm all for free speech and free rights, just not on December 25th.
I know what my answer would be, which is cutting taxes increases revenues.
Social Security already bankrupt.
The fact that Social Security is about to go pay out more than it's taking in by 2010.
50% of Americans don't pay anything in for taxes.
The $800 billion Republican Democrat fascist stimulus package that's coming out this time.
There you go, yeah.
This is the value of our money. This is the value of our money. That's what's going on.